Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with your hosts, Mike Sautter and Jacob Padilla.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of Nebraska Preps Postgame. Talk some high school basketball and kind of break down what happened last week. I'm going to keep it a little, well, not brief, but not, overly long. There was the early season A-B shootout. Classic showdown.
AB early season tournament. Let's just go with that.
early season tournament, which we're primarily going to talk about because
next year. Let's work on the branding and hash out a actual name for this thing.
Yeah,
because I think it's a pretty cool concept, and I thought it turned out pretty well.
It's a very cool concept. Which Class B teams played each other first, and then it's
an 8-team bracket.
Yeah.
You got the 4 A teams in the top, 4 B teams in the bottom. You play it out bracket style. So then at the end, you end up A versus B in the final game,
Saturday
the 7th,
games.
5th, 3rd, and championship games on Saturday.
Yeah.
All in one place. So fans that just want to go out and watch some hoops can do so and see some matchups that they wouldn't normally see.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was excellent, actually.
And the ultimate winner was all the Class A teams did win their crossover games, but they were competitive games for the most part.
Yeah.
There wasn't any real games that are like, that wasn't worth watching on Saturday. But Omaha Westside, the new number 1 in Class A, which we'll touch on why that is in a second. But they pulled out a 58-54 comeback win over Scott in the championship. Right?
They came back big time because they got punched in the mouth early. And
they were down 20-6 after the first quarter. It was how long did they before they scored? Yeah.
It was 5:42 of the second quarter before they made a field goal.
Yeah.
They were getting to the free throw line though.
Yeah.
But it was 5:42 before they made a field goal.
And they were
now the Emory getting too.
And they were still down 44-36 after the third quarter. So they had to go win it in the fourth, and they did. With Lee Robinson kind of taking over a little bit.
Lee Robinson had 14 of his 17, I believe, in the second half.
And he took 16 free throws, made 10 of them. So that's part of that. He only made 3 shots from the field and scored 17.
I will say this. The Scott people weren't very happy with the foul call differential, if you will. So I think it was something like 30-10 or something.
Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, it was a lot. Like getting to the free throw line was kind of a lot. Scott was game, though. I'll say that. When I say game, I mean they were more than willing to go in there and beat the brakes.
Yeah, I mean they led the whole way until the very end.
Yeah, it was 30-9 the free throw shooting.
Yeah,
that's a little lopsided.
That's tough to overcome.
Yeah, so 30-9 was free throw shooting there. Scott, though, I mean, is that the 2 best teams in the state that we just saw? Don't know. Maybe. I mean, they're definitely in the
conversation. Scott already lost to Millard West, so that's just
true. Scott started the season 0-2.
Yeah, and they're 2-3.
Right. I know. One of those losses too,
and they're still one of the best rosters and the best teams in the state. So
that was their first 2 games of the year after practicing for like half of a week.
That's kind of where we are with high school basketball this season, though.
Yeah,
no truly dominant teams, but Westside looks pretty good. They're 4-0. They beat Lincoln East by 20 in the first game. Then they beat Bellevue West by 5 in the second, but they were up 63-47 after the third, and then Bellevue West kind of fierce comeback in the fourth quarter to make it look closer than it was for most of that game. But I think big week for Emory Geddick. Yeah, he's really stepped up this season. You talked about London Dada as a guy who's starting to pop as a sophomore that has some real upside. He was big in that Bellevue West game, hit 5 threes.
He had a big 3 kind of momentum 3 against Scott too in the second half.
So they had a lot of guys. We talked about the depth of this team and kind of the balance, and it's been the case, and that's even without the seniors kind of having a huge say in that.
Yeah.
It's been the sophomores and the juniors and the freshmen that have really emerged as kind of their go-to guys.
Healy and Odvity were supposed to be like the guys, but the younger guys have kind of been the guys so far.
East Geddick at 18, Monte Brown at 12, Lee Robinson at 11, and Donnie Barfield at 10 against Bellevue West. I mentioned Dada at 19. Geddick had 17, Barfield had 17, And then in the championship game against Scott, Robinson had 17. You mentioned a lot of those free throws, and Geddick had 13 and 6. So Geddick's emergence is big for them, and he's a talented kid that
he's
can
athletic
really
and kind of run the floor. You multiple kind of position guy, but the play of the game and the play that really was a momentum swing was the Donnie Barfield dunk. That breakaway dunk. A breakaway dunk that I don't know why the Scott dude jumped with him, but he did. And and that once that happened, it was like, oh boy, like now it kind of snowballed a little bit. Felt like it snowballed a little bit. So Westside takes over the number 1 spot in the coaches poll on the boys side. They're the third number 1 in 3 weeks. It's their turn to be number 1 for this week. And then I think they go to to Hastings in the Heartland Hoops Holiday Classic, which is at Hastings College. Their matchup is Grand Island that day on Saturday. So we'll see. And then they get the number 1 seed in the Metro Holiday Tournament, which we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. They rose up to number 10.
Number 1.
Number 1. Creighton Prep is number 2, almost by default. They haven't really played. They got they're
unbeaten. I think
they're 4-0. But 2 of their games are against Norfolk and Bellevue East this week. The other one was against Elkhorn South, which was Christmas in the Cage. Go check out the NEB Prep socials for coverage of that. Our producer Austin did a great job there with our whole team. That was a big game chain game, and I think they did it right because that is one of the most entertaining spectacles in high school basketball in Nebraska.
This year, I guess it wasn't like fully sold out or anything, which is kind of odd. But it was also Friday night. With the weather.
The weather was tough. That made it
a lot going on Friday night too with other stuff.
But so great win for them. Right now, Trinell Parker's putting up basically 20 and 8.
That's what it needs to be.
And then there's no one else in double figures. Max Jungers is next at 9.5. But they have had different guys step up enough to get these wins at the very least. So we'll see kind of how Prep does as the season goes on. But they're number 2 right now. And they've got a tough week. They got Millard South on Tuesday and Bellevue. They go to Bellevue West on Friday.
Yeah. Millard South, they're playing well.
Yeah, and we'll talk about them in a minute because why Westside was able to rise to number 1. Right. 3 is the Bellevue West, despite the loss to Westside. No shame in that.
They have that win over Millard North.
Yep. They were also in that AB tournament. They beat Papio-South Vista 67-50. Good balance there. They were tight with Westside there.
Yeah, that game started 20-0, by the way.
The Papio game. You were there for that one.
Yeah.
And then kind of in defeat, Bryce Johnson, Jr. Really impressive performance. 23 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists for the sophomore point guard.
He is very athletic, and we talked about this before. He can get downhill and get to the rim kind of whenever he wants.
Yeah. He had a rough one against Lincoln Pius X in the third place game, but Robbie Garcia picked up the slack in a 73-59 win, 32 points and 17 rebounds. He had a bunch of that at half. He already had the double-double by halftime. Of course, he also had 10 turnovers, so need to clean that up a little bit. But Robbie's off to a great start this season, and they need him to be as the one experienced guy in that lineup, and he's delivered. Now they face a 5-0 East Buchanan team out of Missouri in a little holiday deal.
Yeah, it's in Kansas City at the Hy-Vee Arena. They've done that in the past. They did it last year, I believe. I think and then Westside goes down there. Millard North maybe goes down there. I know those two. I know Westside goes down there.
They've got that. And then Prep Friday and Elkhorn South Saturday. Yeah. So tough week for Bellevue West here, sitting at 3-1. Millard North is there at number 4, 2-1.
They didn't get their game with North Star got postponed to this coming Saturday.
Correct.
So they're
got pushed back a week.
Yes, they will be. That's a very interesting game.
They beat Elkhorn South 77-70, but they needed a big fourth quarter to do it because they were down 1 heading into the fourth. Yes. They got 21 from Major Monster and 20 from Corian Gallatin, but only 12 from Derek Rollins. So Elkhorn South did a good job of making life tough for him. But those other two picked up the slack enough to get the win. So now we'll see what Millard North can do this week at Omaha Central Friday, and then that makeup game with North Star, like you mentioned. Papio-South down at number 5 immediately after rising to number 1. They lose their point guard in that last win, and then they lose the game. Yeah.
Reese Kircher is big time for them. Like, means a ton for them.
Ball handling, playmaking.
He said he's going to hopefully play Friday. I saw him Saturday at Bellevue West. And he said, I'm hoping to play Friday. So.
That'd be good for them. Hopefully he can get back and play without too much pain.
He's pretty important for them, it looks like.
Yeah, it's a 63-55 loss at Millard South, who was hungry for this one after dropping a game they felt they probably shouldn't against Papio and the Vista. And they really wanted that one.
Millard South also got Deshaun Prince.
Yeah, that's I was going to mention. He's added to that mix. Isaac Jensen will come back eventually in January once he gets healthy. So that'll be another piece. That Millard South team will get better in the second half than they are now. But Papio-South, Bryson Bahl put up 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks in that Millard South game. And
can't do it all by himself.
He had 30 of their 48 through 3 quarters. And in the fourth quarter, Papio-South could only muster 7 points. I'm sure Bahl started to wear down because they were putting 2-3 guys on him every possession, making sure he was never clean. And he was torching them regardless of what they did to him early on. And it's just hard to do that for 4 quarters without a whole lot of support. But they bounced back to beat Lincoln Southwest 78-62. Bahl had 34 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals. And this is big. They got 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists out of Levi Webb. He's the guy that needs to step up this year, particularly with Kircher. If he's not in the game or if he's limited, they need Webb to step up and be that kind of lead guard, that secondary option alongside Bahl. You got to clean up turnovers a little bit, but he is just a sophomore. And then they got Trent Krogman, 10 points and 4 steals off the bench. So you need some support outside of Bahl, because he is averaging 31.5 points, 8.8 rebounds, and shooting 59% from the field, 35% from 3, and 84% from the line.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he is very, very good. Again, another steal for South Dakota State out of Nebraska.
He is. Said it for a long time. In the senior class, there's some nice players, but Bryson Bahl is the best college prospect of the group.
Looking like it so far. At 6 is Omaha Westview, who won the OPS OPS invitation, 63-39 against Fremont on Monday. Just really impressive defensive performance. And then they followed up 86-46 win against Northwest. So Westview 7-0, doing what they're supposed to. This is a team that, again, is another one. They're going to get better because Zion Patterson has been out. He'll hopefully get healthy here around Metros.
Amir Martin
will be able to play from Metros on. So those are 2 guys that could start for them, could be key pieces for them that haven't played yet. So you
have a lot of depth on that team.
Yeah,
they really do.
But Taven Zephyr Murphy, hopefully by now he can open his eye. He took a shot in the OPS semifinal.
The eye will be open and he'll be able to play fully and see and all that stuff.
Yeah, they got completely swollen shut in that game. Didn't play after the third quarter in the semifinal. I know Coach Freeman wasn't really expecting him to play in the final Monday, but he went to him and said, "No, I'm playing," and they basically taped his eye open, so you can see he had the little thing there, and went out and played pretty well for them. They didn't have a great offensive game, but they were so good defensively, and Fremont just kind of couldn't keep up. They scored that big win against Central, but Westview is a different beast for them. So it's a Westview team, long, athletic. Like I said, they'll get better as well. And then kind of final note in Class A, Kearney at number 7 there. Dropped down, took their first loss. Well, first they survived at Lincoln Southeast, 73-70.
Against Southeast.
Yeah, against Southeast.
Mike Nagoya had 40. Yeah.
38 points for Nagoya there.
38,
for the box score that was posted anyway. Just monster.
35 in regular with not overtime.
Yeah. In regulation.
But that was the word.
They got 28 and 11 from Ben Johnson, 29 from Jacob Weber and Jake Kratzel, 11 points, 8 boards to survive that one. And then,
but then they got smacked at Lincoln Southwest.
Yeah. they beat Bryan handily, like they should. But then, Lincoln Southwest 81-68. They lost there the trip. That one is at Southwest. A little different that playing at Kearney versus playing on the road. That's a significant home court advantage for the Bearcats. But that's a good win for Southwest. And
it's a very good win.
Yeah,
vaulted them into the top 10.
You got 41 points combined between the Sanders twins, Uzziah and Micaiah, who are off to a great start so far this season.
Jackson Cruz is off to a nice
16
start.
16 from Cruz and then 15 from Hudson Mesker as well. And those are the guys that
made all of his threes. I think it was 3 and 4.
Yeah. So that's what they need to do. And so that's a good win for Southwest and Kearney. Still a solid team, but sitting there at 4-1. Lincoln Southeast is 8. Millard South cracked the top 10 at 9 with that Papio-South win.
Back into it after falling out of it.
Yeah. And then Southwest also is there at 10 after picking up that Kearney win. So that's kind of the run through in Class A. We'll talk about the Metro bracket at the end here, but touching on Class B.
Norris stays at 1.
Yeah.
Scott stayed at 2.
So I was impressive week for Norris. I was at they went to Wahoo on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Chris Garner Jr. Had 22 and 6. He had 10 in the third quarter. That kind of when they kind of pulled away. But the shout out to Barrett Boziger. Finished with 19. He
leading scorer, right?
Yeah. He broke his uncle's school scoring record. Chris Boziger was at 1,000 exactly for his career. Had the previous career record, and then Barrett hit a couple of free throws in the fourth to go over 1,000. So congrats to him. Keeping in the family there. I'm sure that felt good to get that one, and he's had a fantastic career for them. So, and then they followed up with a 60-28 win against Elkhorn. Yes, they held Elkhorn to 28 points.
Yeah,
impressive defensive showing.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Scott remains at 2 despite the 2-3 record because of what the schedule has been, and I think coaches know what the talent on that roster is. Big one. Elkhorn North rising up to 3.
They beat Bennington. So
at Bennington.
Move them, I believe. Yes, move them up.
Yeah. So that's an Elkhorn North team that we know has talent. 3-0 start to the season now.
And all that.
Yeah, they beat Gross earlier in the week, and so the question was them mental toughness and the ability to kind of fight through adversity, which didn't happen at the tail end of last year. Now those guys are a year older, more experienced. With Sam Podkowski, Nike Orgabold, Kellen Murphy kind of leading the way, and they've got all those football kids too.
EMC tournaments coming up, and that'll be real interesting because you have some pretty good teams in there, Gretna's and
forget you, but you had
both Gretna's, Norris, Elkhorn North, Blair. Like it's pretty is Mount Michael in there? No. Yeah, they're RCC. Yeah. That tournament's tough. That's gonna be tough.
Always is. Always fun kind of seeing some of the that early in the year because those teams are going to be it in the end. And then Scottsbluff is there at 4, 5-0. They taking care of business against mostly out of state teams. They got a big one coming up.
Huge opportunities coming up for them.
Saturday.
Huge opportunities coming up for them.
Kearney. Yeah, they're taking on Kearney. Yes, Kearney's going to Scottsbluff. So that's their first real measuring stick game. That as far as we're concerned with Nebraska teams, and we know what they have on their roster there. So that's a big one to watch in B this week. Bennington dropped to 5 with the loss. They're still 2-1, still a good roster. Pius at 10th. Despite 2 and 4s at 6, I mean they're playing a lot of Class A.
Yeah, they're
playing a Class A schedule.
Been real hard,
basically so far. So it's still a good team with Parker Kelly, Michael Hayes kind of leading the way. Gretna East is at 7. Saw them play. They were in that AB early season tournament. They're 2-2. Gretna is at 8. Wahoo is at 9, 1-2. And again, those 2 losses are to the
teams.
2 of the best teams in Class B. And then Platteview cracks the top 10.
Platteview won the Cougar Classic, the gross thing. So,
Yep. And they are 4-1. So, one other note in C1 I wanted to mention, Lincoln Lutheran still number 1, taking care of business there. Ashland Greenwood up to number 2 because Donovan Trumbull took a loss to Holdridge. 67-53. Holdridge is off to a great start. They climbed in at number 5. 3-1 in the season. They went and lost to Ogallala, who's at number 4.
Right.
Immediately after that, the 1-point game there. Auburn is at 3. So I just want to shout out Garrett Johnson for Holdridge. Off to a fantastic start. Listen, 30.5 points a game, 6.5 rebounds a game, 5.3 assists per game, 4 steals per game, 1.3 blocks per game, and is shooting 57% from the field, 55 from 3, and 88% from the free throw line.
It's pretty good.
That kid can really shoot. Yeah,
it's a pretty good start.
That kid can really shoot the ball, and now he's also impacting the game in every other way.
They get some good team. Like those 2 games last week were pretty good.
Yep,
so
no doubt.
And then Ashton Greenwood Wahoo is Thursday as well. So that's a pretty good rivalry.
Always a fun one.
All that. Yeah.
So C2 Summerlin still number 1, D1 Johnson Brock still number 1, and D2 O'Neill St. Mary's also still number 1.
That'll be probably a while before those change, and not sure they will.
Correct.
All right, you want to move on to Metro Tournament bracket? The bracket came out. We're recording this on Monday. So, the 18-team bracket on both sides
with all the consolation games.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
Westside's the one. I guess that's fair at this point. The thing that the not glaring, the one thing is like, whoa, Papio-South is 6.
Yeah.
But then if you look at it, you're like, yeah, maybe. I mean, you have Bellevue West at the 2. The 3 is Millard North. The 4 is Prep. The 5 is Westview. So
either unbeaten teams or teams with really good wins.
I'm going to tell you, it is going to be this on the boys' side. The quarterfinals is going to be pretty good because you could make a case for if the seeds hold, if it's like seed lines hold, who's going to win? You can't really handicap it. You could see anybody winning, right?
Yeah. Top seeds. You have Westside and Omaha North versus Papio winner. Mm-hmm. Westview versus Prep would be one. Millard North versus Papio-South, and Millard South versus Bellevue West if seeds hold.
Millard South Central, that's a rematch. They just played. Millard South just beat them. So, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, Deshaun Prince again made his debut against his former school and gets to see them again already.
Yeah. I do think one thing, Elkhorn South, they're 0-4, but their schedule has been really tough.
Yeah.
That's a much better team than I think 0-4.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the seeding, they're 12th. I think people saw that and were like, yeah, okay. Like, they're the best.
But that's a tricky 5-12 for Westview.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like it's not a walkthrough at all. No. So
but Cooper Mrachek and Lincoln Schwartz kind of in the way, carrying the heavy load for the Storm.
I think that one could be a little bit closer than maybe people think. So yeah. It'll be a fun few days, I guess, at Bellevue West this year.
So the tournament,
the boys is at Bellevue West.
Yeah, first round all the way through is at Bellevue West.
Yes.
I guess the consolation as well. The whole thing at Bellevue West this year, and then
the girls tournament is at Bellevue West or Prep, I guess. Playing games or
at Bellevue West.
Yeah. Is at Bellevue West, and then everything else is at Prep.
Yeah,
except for the semis and the finals. Are all at Bellevue West.
Yep,
it's the same thing they did last year. They just flipped locations. So, and on the girls' side, Millard West is rightfully the number 1 seed of this tournament. Millard North is 2. I think that's probably fair. Millard South at 3. Millard South and Marion, if seeds hold stuff, if in this tournament bracket. They play each other this week, so that could be a quick kind of rematch. So that one, Millard South's unbeaten, and last year they were young, right?
Really, yeah.
And then won some games and stuff. So they
had obviously graduated their basically whole rotation.
Yes.
Bryce Myers stepped down, so new coach, basically a whole new roster, kind of rebuild last year, and now those players that gain experience, taking a step forward. Westside is the 4. They get Omaha North in the opener. Westside's got a lot back as well. Bellevue East is the 5. So those are the top seeds on the girls' side as well.
Yeah.
So and this runs December 27th.
27th.
The playing games. Yeah. Then you have the moratorium, obviously, and then the finals are on January 2nd.
Well, the moratorium is
before
this.
Yeah.
And then the very first day back of the moratorium is the play-in bunny bracket games,
which I like that better than breaking it up. It worked out well. Yeah.
And then the 28th is Saturday, and the 29th is a Sunday, so they're not going to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then the 30th of December is Monday, and then Tuesday, and then the finals will be on Thursday, this January 2nd, the day after. Yeah. So you have a New Year's Eve of 12, 1:45, 3:30, and 5:15 on New Year's Eve. So those are the semifinals at Bellevue West. Spend your New Year's Eve at Bellevue West.
We probably will. That's probably where we're going to be.
You won't be there, though.
Oh, yeah. I haven't even looked at the schedule yet to see what the game plans are.
You definitely won't be there the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, well, we between the two of us, we will have it covered. Yeah, we'll have it covered.
We'll have a bunch
and the rest of our team.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of stuff.
Probably off next week and then be back after.
Yeah, we'll probably be back after Metros.
Yeah. Kind of recap the whole thing and do an episode focused on that, and then get back into kind of the regular schedule after that once we get through the holidays.
Yeah, all right. That'll do it for Andy B. Prep's post game this week. Have a safe holiday, fun holiday season, and we will talk to you after the first of the year.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.